Hey guys, this is Vlad. Today I'm going to be doing my first video of my PvP guide. I'll be showing some extremely basic but effective techniques that absolutely dominate the lower ranks of PvP and also give some insight on how more advanced tactics work that I'm going to be showing off in my future videos. Today I'm going to be going over tap bait and vanish pausing, which are two extremely important tactics that are kind of the basis for all advanced techniques and will absolutely help you dominate the lower ranks and get you to at least battle rank 35 or beyond. So most people who are just getting into PvP coming over from story mode will just kind of spam side swipes because that's a really good way to play against the computer. They'll just keep swiping, waiting for you to attack, and as soon as you attack, they'll vanish and counter you right away. This is actually how most people play below like battle rank 30 or so. So there's a very easy and very effective way to beat it, which is the tap blast bait, which I'll be showing right here. So when someone else is just swiping, not doing anything but waiting for you to attack, what you do is you do a single tap blast followed by a side swipe to vanish to counterattack. And this will absolutely wreck these kinds of players. Once they've already vanished, and you counter vanish them, they can't do anything during the attack animation. They're just going to be stuck there, and then you can do any attack you want and can switch to type advantage for the next hit. They are at your mercy. So the next tactic and concept I want to introduce is the Vanish Pause. So more advanced players, after they vanish you, they know that most people are just waiting for them to attack back so they can get counter vanished. So what a good player will do is they'll actually just stand there and wait for you to sideswipe first. The reason that this works is after a certain point in the sidestep, if they attack you, you actually can't vanish until the sidestep ends and you start a new one. So they'll just wait for that point and hope that you panic swipe, so that way they can attack you when you are unable to vanish. Now you don't see a bunch of deliberate vanish pauses at lower battle ranks. That's something more advanced players do. But for people who are already at that point, or eventually when you reach it, there is a way to defeat the vanish pause. So if someone keeps vanish pausing you, the next time you get them to bait them into vanishing, you don't swipe first. You immediately go into either an attack card or a tap punch to get priority. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be going straight into an attack card because it's more effective as it gives you a combo. And comboing after a tap punch is something I want to cover in a later video because there's a lot more depth to it than most people kind of realize. So for this video, I'll just say the best thing to do is go straight into a strike card. Now you can use another attack card when they're vanish pausing because they're just standing there not putting in any input. But if they do attack you, the strike card will either end up giving you priority or end up in a strike clash at worst. And I'll show you what it looks like in this video. As you can see, I used the straight tap blast to strike attack against someone who wasn't vanish pausing. Ended up in a strike clash. Now this can still end up being a win if you manage to win the strike clash, but there's no guarantee. And even if you do, the combo afterwards won't be as good because they'll end up far away and you won't be able to sidestep immediately after the attack. So you can't get as good of a combo as if you landed your card first against a waiting opponent. So the reason I wanted to cover these series of exchanges first is because it introduces the mind game and concept of guessing whether or not your opponent's going to attack or whether they're going to pause after vanish. Because that is generally how most high-level PvP matches are decided. And the person who can figure out their opponent's habits and tendencies and they become able to predict the opponent's pauses and attacks is going to end up winning the fight. Since now I'm giving you guys a valuable tool on beating people who just spam sidesteps, I'll show you what to do if someone's trying to do it to you. So the best way to beat tap bait is not to fall for it. If you see someone who is just spamming tap blasts at you, which kind of happen around BR40 as people start to get familiar with the technique, is you just move to the side. The blast won't chase you like a blast arts card or strike card. And most of the time you can actually just ignore it. But if you don't want to give them the satisfaction or you don't want to just add up damage, then you can just hold to the side and none of them are going to hit you. The way to tell if the opponent is tap blasting or use a regular blast is that you just watch their animation. Every character, when they tap blast, they raise their hand up over their head before throwing the blast forward, as you can see here. I had him use Android 16, so that way even at far distance it's very easy to see his hand comes up over his head. As opposed to a blast card, no character raises their arm above shoulder level before doing it, which I'll show you right here. So as you can see, when he went into his blast, he didn't raise his hand up over his head, so that's how I knew it's time to vanish. So that's something you want to pay close attention to, is which attack the opponent's doing, so you know whether or not you need to vanish. And that's why I said that the tap blast actually sets up more advanced techniques, because it forces the opponent to hesitate to watch your animations and see whether or not they need to vanish or whether it's just a tap blast and a false alarm. So all other techniques like a key cancel or strike bait actually build up off tap blast, because it makes sure your opponent doesn't vanish too fast for you to react. And when your opponent does end up start reacting quickly to your key cancel or strike baits, you can just switch back to tap blast to force them to slow down and pay attention. However, if you do end up falling for a tap blast and vanishing, all is not lost. So the first counter you should do is the pause that I showed earlier, and I'll show you what it looks like from your point of view. So as you can see, I fell for the tap blast, but I didn't attack right away. I just waited for his sidestep and attacked him after he passed about halfway into his step, which is at that point he is unable to vanish again, so I can get a free hit. However, you do want to be careful with pausing too much and becoming predictable, because they can go straight into an attack card like I showed earlier. So like in this example, I tried pausing and he went straight into a strike card and landed on me. So you definitely want to pay attention to your opponent's habits to know whether or not there's someone who swipes immediately, or they're a more advanced player that will alternate and make you have to guess whether or not they're going to attack or not. The other thing you don't want to do is become predictable and spam tap bait against someone who is kind of keyed onto it and they're wise to it and they're not going to keep falling for it, because they can actually just override it. So if they see your hand come up, they can hit a blast card or a strike card and it'll go straight through your tap blast. And if they do it quick enough, you won't be able to move and you'll just end up getting hit. So you really don't want to make sure you become predictable. It's absolutely best to use the single tap blast against someone who is just spamming swipes and will fall for it. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. I know it definitely will help people a lot at the lower ranks, and introduce some key concepts like how to make your opponent waste their vanish and knowing when to pause after you vanish yourself. If you guys have any questions or concerns, you can hit me up below in the comment section or on Discord or Twitter. And if there's anything you guys are really stuck with, let me know so I know I can cover it in my next video and know which direction to keep going in. So thanks.